For the young ones that are here, I apologize, but Gordie used to say that Pete was the toughest son of a bitch he ever knew, and you can see why. I would also like to recognize the Letty family is here today. Our Uncle George's family came, and I appreciate that they being in attendance. And also, my dad's only brother, Earl, who passed quite some time ago. We have his daughter, Trish, and her husband, Joe, came in all the way from Milwaukee for this morning's Mass and then today's ceremony, too. So we thank you guys for coming in very, very much. For those that, again, never had the opportunity to ride with Dad or be around Dad, if you heard at church today how Dad and Joan really loved to sing. If you've ever been with Dad, he was the one guy that never knew any of the lyrics of any of the songs that were ever made. He knew Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and that stopped. He knew Hey Jude, he made up. The instrumentals such as like the theme from Dr. Zhivago, that's for the younger ones know, he made up his own words. Star Wars was another one that was just an instrumental. Dad would make up words and tell me that those were the exact things. I rode with Dad one time down to St. Joe's, Missouri. It was a 10-hour drive. I had to drive. I was 16 years old. And he sang the whole way and never once had one song correct. But always thought he was a great singer, always, to this day. At this time, I would like to bring up my sister, Margaret, who will share some of her memories with our dad. Margaret?
I want to thank all of you for being here with us. I had my lovely sister Billy at church. We had a conversation yesterday from my trip from the airport to Joliet, and she was like, can you listen to my, my speech that I'm going to give at church tomorrow? And I was, yeah, I'd love to. So we're riding, and I'm talking, and telling my husband to slow down, stop, do this, and we're on 294. Again, the driving school. I was going to be the head teacher for the driving school. This all goes back. I used to steal Dad's car at 15. And so I was going to be the president of that company. But so I gave Billy, she was bouncing things off, and I said, Bill, I said it'd be great, to hear from his daughter and the family. And she says, okay, I'll take my talk that direction. So she gets up in church today, and she's talking, and this is the competitiveness. She talks about my wonderful nephew, Ryan, who had called the other morning and wanted to talk about Grandpa. And he was saying, Grandpa, he said, the talks that we would have, I would go and we would watch movies. And then he would tell me how important it is to be a man. How the most important thing in my life is to be a good father. To love my woman. Everything else takes secondary to that. So Billy talks about that at church. Okay. So then she talks about the things that we shared with Dad and the things that he loved. And she brought up the movies. And Magpie, me, I would call, he loved A Wonderful Life. It was one of his all-time favorite movies. And I would call every year when it was on once a year at 7 o'clock. And I would call each and one of my sisters and my dad and Joan, okay, Wonderful Life's on at 7 o'clock, and get put on NBC, so then we would all be watching it together as if we were in the same room together. So we would hear the great lines from the movie, Merry Christmas, Emporium! And he would just, and Dad would do that. And when we would get to the end of that movie, and in the book that was written, Dear George, no man is a failure who has friends. Thanks for the wings, Clarence. Another thing, Billy takes my knees out. Bill, bring me a bell for my speech. I got it. No bell. It's okay, ding ding. Teacher says, every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings. attaboy, Gord. Attaboy, Dad. Because he's there, and that's when Dad, in his final days, we would just tell Dad to spread his wings. Spread your wings and go home. Go home to the unseen arms of your Lord. Because when I had struggles back 20-some years ago, my dad would call me every morning at 6:30 for 2 years and talk to me, whether it be about the weather or a prayer. And the one thing he would always say to me is, allow myself to rest in the unseen arms of my Lord. It is his will, not mine, be done. And that got me out of me, and it got me out of my way. My dad loved me when I was unlovable. And he loved me until I loved myself. And so many of you talk about that you wouldn't be where you are today because of how he connected with you. And that's what he did with all of us, and with each of us and his children and his grandchildren. And he made us feel, and I tease, and I say, I'm Margaret Mary, I'm his favorite. And each one of us can say that because when he was with us, we were his favorite. He told me that I was the only one of 7 children that he named. There was a woman down the street. She was beautiful. Her name was Margaret Mary, and loved the name. So I'm telling Billy this the other day, and she goes, oh no, he named me too. And I'm like, and he told me I was the only one he named. And then I talked with Jackie, and Jackie's like, oh no, I was the only one he named. He named me after Jacqueline Kennedy, and because he thought that she was a hot tamale. So we got our jack-o'-lantern, and that goes into about the different names that our father, if your name didn't end in a Y, he'd have to give you a nickname, okay? And so we had Ryan, he was Ryan O'Neill. We had Jennifer Jones. We had Scotty Pip. We had Bad Hank Aaron, Jack-o'-lantern. And the thing is that I don't even realize that you get these things, osmosis, but I do the same thing with my team, with my company. I nickname everyone. I can't just call you, like Penny. I got to call her Penny. It's just, you got to change it up. But I want to just thank you all. And you all said, the sacrifices we made as a family. We did not make sacrifices. We gained so much from all of you. My little sister and I, we were by Dad's side, whether he was at intramurals at Jolie Catholic till 11 o'clock on a Sunday night. We were at Lewis University playing office, or we were up above in the rafters where the mats were. Our vacations were the southern trips. And we looked forward to the 2 weeks on the bus with no bathroom with how many baseball players? I learned to play the guitar from Freddie Freeberg. He was one of Dad's pitchers, and I got to learn to play the guitar. So I gained so much. And I'm just so blessed that I had the time with my dad, and I got to spend that time with my dad when he was going to heaven to be with the Lord, and for all of us to be there together and lay and hold his hands, and it was just the most beautiful experience and the true definition of family. Thank you.